Hello, everybody. We're going to get started here shortly. Thank you for joining. We're getting lots of people coming on in, some regular names. So appreciate everyone for taking the time to come on in today. We did get one pre-submitted question, and we'll probably start with that. But if you do have any other questions outside of the pre-submitted one, which I do see some people still filing in, but if you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat so we can start putting some eyes on them. I do know, like I said, we do have one pre-submitted question, but I think that person is already in here. So um, we'll get started here in maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So I did get a question from 33. Yeah, so Tyson, I did get your question already. We will start with that one. But again, if anyone else has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat so we can start getting some eyes on them. But like I said, we'll get started here in just a few moments. And while we're kind of waiting for some people to fill in, I just want to let you know that we're not doing a lunch and learn this coming Wednesday. So in 2 days, we're using it as a holiday here in the U.S. On Eastern Standard Time. So there's no session on Wednesday. On the top right is a QR code that will allow you to go to our support YouTube channel where we put all the videos from Lunch and Learn. So every Lunch and Learn we do, we record it and we put them on there as well as some additional content. So we're building content around like commonly asked lunch and learn questions. So um, feel free to check that out. And then on the bottom right is a separate QR code for the solutions marketplace, which gives you access to kind of pre-built out, halfway built out flows and projects and applications so that you can kind of start your process with a foundation already kind of built, but it is a new kind of option and talks about our modules as well in that space. So QR code on the top right is for our YouTube channel where these are posted, and the bottom right is the new Decisions Solutions Marketplace. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, thank you guys for joining. My name is Robert. I am going to be helping you out. We have some people on this side of the line that can do some research as well, but the only pre-submitted question we have is from Tyson. I'll unmute you if you want to kind of give me some more insight about what your use case is. But the question that I have is looking for a way to get a scheduled job to run after the end of the last scheduled job. Tyson, if you don't mind, could you give me a little bit more insight about what you might want to utilize or how you're going to implement this, and I can maybe give you some workarounds?
Absolutely. So we have a essentially a queue of work to do.
Okay.
We have a scheduled job right now running once a minute. It pulls in, it sets the Boolean saying, "Hey, I'm already running." So if the work takes longer than a minute, it doesn't kick off and run the next set until this first set is done.
Hmm.
But then might the first run might take 30 minutes. It might take 30 seconds, depending
Hmm.
on how much work is in the queue. We're trying to find a way to say, we've completed the work that's in the queue, set it to run again within the next minute. And so it's a little more efficient than just we're running every minute. And if we're already running, then we just exit out of the flow and we just keep running it over and over and over. We'd like to be a little more streamlined in getting them to run together.
Yeah, that's insightful. Let me take a look. I did ask around a little bit in the last 10 minutes or so or 20 minutes since you submitted the question. I do know that at least in terms of like the simple settings within a scheduled job, there's not a way to just simply set it up, which is why I was kind of maybe asking for some behind the scenes kind of ask. So you're running a job every minute, but sometimes that job might take 30 minutes and you want to remove the tax it has on your instance and server to say, hey, if the last scheduled job hasn't run, don't even attempt, is basically the sentiment.
Oh yeah, there hasn't finished running. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Let me see here. And this might be something I have to and I spoke to one of our like more senior people on support, and they said like that does sound like a good feature request because it does logically make sense.
Hmm.
But what I'm going to do is see if I can poke around for a moment, um, and think about the way. And you said you had a Boolean on the front of your scheduled flow that checks
Yeah,
to see if it's in.
that's how we're doing it right now. I mean, it
Yeah.
still hits the flow once a minute, but it won't attempt work until the boolean is reset from the one that is running.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like the solution I was prepared to to prepare
Cool.
to propose to you. Um, yeah, the solution that I when I spoke with another member was saying you could set up logic on the front end that says, hey, if it's in progress, kind of go right to the end step. But still, it doesn't kind of work around that still pinging that scheduled job every minute, which can tax your um, load there. That might be something that I have to reach out and get back to you about. I do have your email, um, but it's one of those things where the logic that I was prepared to propose, it seems like you've already kind of implemented. Because again, in this scheduled job, as I'm sure if you've made it that far into it, um, you don't have those options
Yeah.
to specify in here. Um, and you always want to leave that on. So. Yeah, that might be something. And like I said, I do have your information. I might just reach back out, and give you a little bit more of a detailed, because I know you submitted the question like 20 something minutes ago, but it's
Yeah.
one of those, it's going to take some brainstorming to think about a workaround. And the one that you came up with was the one that both of us thought of. So, um,
Perfect.
yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about not having a great solution for you, but
No, you're good. It's just let me know and I can submit a DT and if people want to use it, we can get that going.
yeah, and I appreciate that. Is there any other questions you had, or was it just that the one?
That's the one for today.
All right. Well, thank you, Tyson, and thank you for joining. Yeah, but I'll send you an email follow up, like probably within an hour, once I can kind of powwow with some more folk and see if we can figure out what alternative options you might have.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then for the rest of you guys that are just now joining, I appreciate you. My name is Robert. If you have any questions, I know we have some frequent flyers in here, so anybody that has any type of question, we might be able to field it. We've got some people on this side of the line they can look things up and hopefully give you some type of solution. But does anyone else in the room have any types of questions or anything like that? There we go, Smith. Yeah, hey, welcome back. I know we've been working quite a bit. There we go. I unmuted you. You're more than welcome to.
Yeah, hi.
Hey.
I had a question
Hmm.
on S3 buckets. We were using S3 buckets and we started using that the component. Thank you. I think you mentioned a couple of pointers. I sent an error to decisions taken and to Robert, I think.
Hmm. Through the support team or through the training team?
I sent it at support at
Okay.
decisions.com and I sent it directly to Robert, I think.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's see. And Levi, I know that you're on this side. Do you mind seeing if you could find that support ticket and send it to me by any chance?
Sure.
No, I'm asking someone on my side, Smith.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
we have
Yeah. Yeah, I
someone
got
else
you.
on this side. Yeah, they can just
I'll
find
see if
that
I can
ticket.
find it here.
Yeah, thank you. So you said you had it was three. What was the problem? It was three buckets.
No, in the S3 bucket, I got
Okay.
an error while I ran it in the debug mode.
Okay.
And maybe it's because one thing what I wanted to know is how can I find out what files are on the decision server, the path, basically. And the second question I had was like, I'm getting an error, whatever error I'm getting, does that mean that I'm connecting successfully to S3 because our infrastructure team has given us some IDs and stuff like that, and they think it should work. So I'm not able to figure out what that error actually means.
Okay. Yeah, when we if we can find the error on our side or the ticket, which again, the person on the other side of the wall with me is on the support team, so they have access to those tickets. I might
Do
be
you
able
want
to.
me to send the number to you? I can just ping it on chat.
Yeah, that would be nice if you don't mind. Just send it to all hosts.
Sure,
Hey,
I'll do that.
I just linked it into you as
Okay.
well,
Never mind.
Ralph. Yeah.
So we found it. Thank you.
Okay, great, thanks.
All right, let me pull that up. Thank you, Levi. S3 error. Let's take a look. All right. And then the second, so you had the S3 error, and then the second question was related to what
The
again?
the path
Okay.
on the decision server, somewhere the files get created. How can I, using this tool, is there a way I can know, okay, in all decisions where I can go or see what files are there?
Yeah, let's see here. Okay. I'm looking at the ticket right now. And just a Tyson, I don't know if you're still in the room, but we have a couple of the folks that are in here super regularly that are super insightful. They said that another thing to consider with your request about the schedule job is you can create a custom queue and just allocate one thread to it. This way, your job will be queued up and wait until the previous is completed. So that might be helpful as well as if you're given a thread queue option, just allocate one for your jobs, and then it will not run until the previous one has been completed. So that might be, and thank you, VT, for that information. Let's see here. All right, so I got the support ticket up. Let's see. Okay. Invoking pull file from location on Amazon S3. So yeah, my initial thought on this, and I'm gonna see if anyone has put any chat on there. My initial thought is that if it's not getting any data, like the input value for that is no data, that there probably is a configuration issue with it. Because on that error message, it just says that there's no input values, which leads me to believe that either there's an authentication issue or it's not totally filled out in terms of the path. And to be fully transparent, I don't have much experience with um, S3. Um,
Not a problem.
yeah,
It would be helpful if you can show me like through this tool, right? Like this interface or something. If I can know like on the server where I can access a file, I could access any file. It's just a test, what we are running right now. So uh, how can I know, say, somebody gave me that opt decisions path, but is there a way I can say what files are actually on that path?
I do believe so. Yeah, so my initial understanding of it would be through the C program files decisions and file storage. Like if you have information stored on your decisions instance, it would be in this information in here. Um, but I'll have to find the actual space. These are data backups.
Like, which files are we talking about exactly? Like, when you say like server-based files, like,
Not server-based files. Like I mean to say, like if you run a job and output, right? So what folder does a default go to? Is there a path which would take as a default or something, or not really? If I just export select star from a database and connect it to an Excel
I
component.
yeah, I think it really depends on like the steps that you use. Because a lot of times like steps, if it's outputting data, you can set a like a
Path.
directory for it, and it will
Okay.
get like sent to that directory. But it really just completely depends on like what steps you're using. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the
But
flow itself. Yeah.
okay, but can I access those? Say if I know there is a they've given me a path like in our server of decisions from this interface. I have admin access. Can I see what files are there in that folder or not really?
That is a good question.
Say
So
that again, Smith. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't hear that either.
They've given me a path, like say opt decisions that is on our server. Okay, if I give a path on like that on the server, Using this interface, is there a way I can see what files are in that path or not really?
Like remotely see like what
Smita,
folders.
you,
Oh, sorry, PT.
What the file names or
yeah,
size or something, not necessarily open and we get the file, but at least see what lists the files basically.
yeah, you can use this flow and there is a list files, but it sounds like your installation is on the container, so that file storage is basically a virtual path, kind of like a virtual drive that you install when you stand up container, and that
Okay.
could be in your environment variable. It should be there,
Okay.
and you still can list the files, but not always if it's on the container.
Okay.
So it's going to be like a /opt/decisions.
Correct.
And,
That's what I was given. Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, it has to be a backslash. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I think it's different from the Windows location.
Okay.
yeah, I'm on a Windows base, so I just grabbed a random folder on mine. But yeah, you can list files in directory and
Yeah.
run this through, and it will tell you the files that are in that
Oh, okay, great. This is very
directory.
helpful.
I was gonna say there is that other one as well, Rob. The remote ones, the remote SFTP files right there. List remote files SFTP. Yeah, or like remote files FTP. Yeah, yeah. That's also something as well. Like if it's a virtual path on like a different. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay.
Does that help you
Well,
out?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, VT.
I'm not sure if SFTP will work with the Linux machine, but technically it's the same protocol. So you can, if you can SSH into that, you can probably use one of those. But I doubt. I would use list files.
Right. I don't think we'll have SSH. Even with admin, we won't have the SSH to the box.
Mhm.
So that we won't have. So even it's a Linux box. So basically, I'll have to do list files, right? In list files and directory, I mean.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And if you are not sure which directory that's in, you can start with like a slash or backslash, and it will give you a list of folders.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, maybe you will need to use like list folders in directory. So you can basically you will see if you start with a backslash or a slash, it will give you opt. Then opt will be your root. Then you go opt/decisions or whatever. It will give you in decisions files, and it should be something like file storage.
Okay. Like one slash.
Yeah. So I do believe Robert, right?
Yes. Yep.
If you just use like slash without like C, whatever. Can you use backslash? I guess. The other one, yeah. Can you try to run this and see if it will give you root installation directory?
No.
Can you use backslash? Well, different one, just slash. Yep. Nope.
And this might be one of those things too, like for
Oh no,
finding the.
no, hold on. It just says it's denied location.
Okay.
Documents and settings. Okay.
Yeah, then for that S3, Smith, I would wait for support to follow up with you just because they can look into your actual instance and looking at the error message is informative, but it's not informative enough to like really get a game plan. But if my initial suspicion is that it's some type of permissioning issue just because you're not getting any data.
Right. But here also, here also it says input values, no data. So it's a similar thing which I got there. But apart from that, I'm sure probably there's something else to that S3 settings. But whenever we get this input values not found, what does that actually, no data, I mean, this thing there, what does that actually mean? That it's the input parameters are not correct? From what I read it as, it's not getting the file. That's how it came across to me. But is what does that actually mean?
Yeah. So, and Levi, feel free to, if you or even BT, either of you guys, but basically the error message we're getting is that it says no input data for the S3 from file location on Amazon S3 steps. So it's saying error running step, exception invoking method, no data for an input. I'm
No,
not sure.
I actually, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I actually meant even in the display, what you have on the screen, it says input values, no data. So it's a similar thing I got there. So
Okay.
when you say input values, no data, what does that mean? The one of the input values in the configuration is not correct. It's not
Correct.
finding. Is that what it means?
Yeah, so for this particular
Case.
instance on the screen, is it saying, hey, yeah, there's a configuration error, like this path is not valid. Like
Okay, got you.
it's not a valid path. But if I did something else, if I went, I'm not going to do a whole one, but um, here I can do it this way, I guess. Copy path, and then if I do Control V, but I change some of this, like I just misspell it, I'm sure it'll give me the same error message saying cannot find. There's no data. Yeah, it doesn't
Got it.
exist. Okay. And like I said, I think we'll follow up. I know I'm already following up about the schedule job. And I know you have the support ticket in, but I'll kind of check in with them as well to make sure that you get some information on that S3 ticket, just so it's not something that's holding your process up.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Does
And
anybody else? Go ahead.
so I just pasted in chat. So if you're in the container, instead of up decisions and whatever path
Mhm.
that you was given to, just try to use that slash file storage.
Sorry, which one? Is it in the chat
I don't
or?
know if she
It,
has access to the chat. I'll send it to her right now. Uh, I put it in the chat, Smitha.
Oh, okay. So you want me to use file storage and the name? Okay. Why would that be file storage? Is that how internally it's
in the container, file storage is basically a virtual drive that you attach to your container. So it's not always up decisions, because up decisions is where it's basically your container, but it doesn't mean that your folder for the file storage inside of that container. It could be on different location. It's just like a
oh,
virtual drive.
okay, got it. I'll try this one. Thank you so much.
All right. Do we have any more questions from anybody else in the lobby? I know we have quite a few people in here. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat um, or in the Q&A. Feel free, chat or Q&A. All right, give it another 30 seconds. If not, we'll kind of close it out so I can make sure I follow up with the folks that did have questions and do some of that research. But like I said, if you have a question, I am available. So, all right. Well, thank you guys very much. Like I said, this will go on YouTube um, shortly. And like I said, Smitha and the question about scheduled jobs, I'll follow up with both of you guys here in the next hour or so to make sure that you're getting the resources you might need. But I appreciate everyone for coming in. We will see you back again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.